Happy New You. It is time to dream a new dream. We've been talking about it. We've just turned the corner into a new year, and it is time to actually begin the new dream. So, what does it mean to dream a new dream? That we're living a life based on our experiences, actually based on our perception of our experiences. So I may love a rainy day, you may dislike a rainy day. The experience is that it's raining, but our perception of it is uh, defining how we think about our own life. And so we can dream a new dream, we can change our perceptions. And as we go on this higher consciousness journey, we uh, intentionally become present to dream and create, choose the perception that we want based on truth. And the truth is, the higher you go, the more in the light of love and giving, the better the dream is, the better the outcome. So I did, one of my recent conversations was um, God's will be done. So God's will, God is thought. Um, no, God is love and will is thought. So loving thoughts, when you're aligned with God's will, when you let his will be done or allow, co-create with his will, then you have loving thoughts. That's how you do it. When you have hateful thoughts, you're dreaming a nightmare. When you align in the spirit, you are working in that place that he has for you. So we're going to start dreaming a new dream now. We did a whole series last year on it. You can go back and check in on those things to get regrounded. But today we are going to actually activate that spirit. We're going to start dreaming that new dream. So everyone's giving everyone well wishes. This year is going to be full of blessings and health and success and prosperity. I wish you that. I bless you that. And so I have been putting out and blessing people that it is so. It is now. It's not something that I'm wishing that's going to come soon, that it is here now. I am, in my perspective, believing and activating these powers, this universal law that we've been talking about, aligning with God's will, aligning with these universal laws to create my best outcomes now. So that these things that I've been worrying about, I won't let them get me down. And when they do start to get me down, I use all of my spiritual tools. And this is what I'm encouraging you to do. This is not a place that we're just, hopefully we're not just listening and then we throw it away and go and say, oh, that was interesting, for my walk or for my, I didn't have anything to do. And so I checked it out. It made a little bit of sense. These are tools to help guide you to your own truth, to your own inner peace. This is for the attainment of inner peace, joy, and happiness. That's what we all want. So you have to utilize these tools. We've been learning them all year. Now we put them into practice. And I'm going to tell you how. This is going to be a little lengthy. I may break it into parts, but I will definitely let you know. So I figured out the way to do this. I was inspired this morning as Spirit spoke to me with this new year with all of this. And I figured I needed to share it while it was fresh, because in the giving you receive, so I could lock it in for myself and you can receive it as fresh as possible from the Spirit that came through me. So here we go. Part 1. I have props. I want to let you know that too. We have to remember that what is in the one is in the whole, and what is in the whole is in the one. Okay. And the metaphor for that is a flame. It's easy when we say that, but sometimes we don't really know what that means. So I want to start with my metaphor. Okay. And this is how you dream a new dream. So I'm trying to make it relative, super, a picture's worth 1,000 words, because when you get into this spiritual, esoteric stuff, look at that flame. Wow. It's a wick flame. That's a big flame. Like a flame, nothing is diminished, nothing is taken away from it. It shares inexhaustibly. That, and we're going to make, in this metaphor, this is the light. This is the light of God, or this is love. Okay. The beauty of love, which we talk about, but the essence of it, how it works, the law, is that it's brilliant. Nothing can be taken away from it. That in its giving, it is not diminished. And that more could be put on it to increase it, but it is not diminished by giving. That's like love, that's charity, that's all. So, this is God. I took flame from it, but it did not change the flame. And now I can light another candle. I have increased. This flame came from that flame. What is in this one was in that one. What is in the one is in the whole. If I put all these together, this is going to go out in a minute. But I want to light another one. That would be able to go out. So I have taken from one flame. It is not diminished. It is still as brilliant as a thought. A flame does not leave its source. This is the best metaphor I could give for spirit, and I wanted to make it visual. The God in me, this is me, and this is you, and this is God. It loves the God in you. It's the flame. We want to focus on the candle or the glass, or what the world or what people say about how the glass looks. And I wish that white candle was a brown candle or a blue candle. But what's more important, what comes from the source, the love that we all have, is this light. What's in the one is in the whole, and you can bring it back together, and it is just this light. That is how to understand the power that you have. So this is the power of oneness, that you are not diminished in your giving. You cannot fail in the traditional sense, because whatever happens with the rest of this, your flame is still there. So if you lose your job, if you forgive someone, you're nothing's taken away from you. And if you ask, if you feel like your flame never really goes out, it may get dim, but this light of God within you, it may get dim, but it never goes out. It's just up to you to fan it or remember it or what have you. But for the sake of the metaphor, let's say it does go out and you're feeling low and depressed, and you're worried, you're like, oh, I don't have any money to pay to get this glass cleaned. Oh, it's chipped, it's broken. There's ash or whatever in here. Like, life is dull. It's got a virus. It's the economy is down. It's just everything is out. I want to be the light again. All you have to do is remember you are one, where your power comes from. Here's the beauty in it. You can go back to the source, spend time with God in meditation, in whatever, how you connect, and relight, and let that light of enthusiasm and love come forth again. Okay. You can also come to me or other light workers, because we're all in it together, because what's in one is in the whole. The source is all together. So you have infinite places, and I could, but I won't, light all these candles I made tonight. A little self-care. Light all these candles, but you have infinite, all the people in the world, nature, wind, fire, love. Just, there's an essence that's in the light that is in all of us, that you have opportunities to get your flame relit from. Just like you may be letting people put your flame out, giving your power away. You also can frame your mind, and that is to dream a new dream. And that is what you want to start doing today. So today is the day. It's a new, beautiful day. All of the energy of the world. We just had a full moon this week. The world is changing. Everyone has new ideas about their body and relationships and whatever. And that's all in this light. That's all in this light. What's in the one is in the whole. So you can use that energy by staying positive and writing. You cannot be diminished. Nothing can be taken away from you. Okay. So I wanted to, now I'm going to blow out the big one, but that's not to say you can't blow out the light of God, but it's just making me hot. But that's okay, because sometimes it's a great a metaphor too. Sometimes we feel like we can't feel God, or we think, God, why aren't you there for me? You know, why have you forsaken me? You know, but he's always there, and he's there in other people. We are all one. What's in the one is in the whole. So even if you can't feel it, that's just because you can't feel it. And to dream a new dream, you have to break through the lie to get there and get that feeling back. Okay, so you are a flame. You cannot be diminished. The light, the spirit, the God in you, it's all one. We're all one. It's the same like this. It's the essence of that. Okay, so that's the first part. Um, is the flame. That's the metaphor. So what is the one is in the whole. We saw how the flame, how you can't be diminished, but I want to give you some more metaphors. It is like blood and blood cells. And it came to me today when they talk about, you know, the blood of Christ, or the body of Christ, the blood, what's in the blood. And again, this was just spirit. This was in my morning meditation. And I thought it was just so great. I was like, oh my gosh, what is in the one is in the whole. Your blood is full of blood cells. I know I have an accent, but you know what I mean. cells, cells. Um, Individual cells or platelets, or I don't know all of the medical, the scientific description. But what I do know is that all of your blood, each of those cells contains all of your DNA. See, what is in the one is in the whole. So we say we just have blood, all the blood in our body. But what is in each of those cells is in all of those cells. And what's in all of those cells is in each of those cells. And you need that blood. And this is how giving, it's like the flame. You can give your blood to other people for them to have life. So that's why this metaphor, at least in the Christian tradition, there's other interpretations, but the way I have come to it from spirit today to help you see this oneness that we all have is that in the universe, in the all that is, in God, in our power, where we can dream and create the life we want, is that we just have to realize that and utilize it, just like a blood cell, that we are all one. We're all blood. We're all the blood of God. We're all the blood. I'm a cell, you're a cell. We're focusing on those different things instead of, like, we all have the same DNA, basically. We all have the same DNA. I have the same DNA, you know, for the most, as my brothers and sisters, but we're different people, but we're the same. We're the same family. We're the same. And so you have to start thinking of your brothers and sisters, the rest of the people, especially people that you have a disagreement with, because once you remember that you're the flame and you can't be diminished, you can only be diminished by you diminishing other people, by you putting out other people's flames. It'll dampen your view of your own flame. It's a barrier. But I'm going to try to stay on point, because I'm going to take it slow, but I do want to give you what came to me, and I don't want to stray too much from that. So remember, the blood and blood cells is a very good example of what is in the one is in the whole. So we started with the candles, showing that you can't be diminished, that your light can only give to others. It can't be taken away. I mean, it can be blown out or dimmed, but it can't all the way go out in the real light of God. And that we're all one. So I also want to talk another example with the blood, different from the blood, is a treasure. It was so great when it came to me today. I hope you get some of this. And then to go back, whatever your religious or spiritual background, take these nuggets and really see if they connect or jive with some of your beliefs, or go back and do your own study and see, does it make sense? Again, these are pointers and hopefully helpful guides that will make you have the ahas that I had this morning. A treasure. There's all types of metaphors and stories about, your treasure being stored in heaven. And I used to love the Indiana Jones, treasure hunters and all of that. And you think, and when they would finally find the treasure, they open up this big room, and there's just like, opens up to all of this just gold and statues and all that. Or what is that? The Count of Monte Cristo, one of those Edgar Allan Poe stories. I think you find a treasure in the bottom of the ocean, or pirates and ships. And so, what is a treasure? You are a treasure. But a treasure is, and I brought just my other prop, things that I love. One, my books, spiritual books, lesson books, a little thing my kids gave me with my initials on it. I got some jewelry here. Some is expensive, some is not, but some is just stuff I love. Um, this is a treasure. Each one of these things, in and of themselves, is important. Without any of this, if this was all empty, there would be no treasure as we define it. So, what is in the treasure, what is in the one is in the whole. I can't have a treasure without all of the pieces within it. You are valuable in this universe. You are one of these pieces of just goodness, just because it's a value, it's of love. And the value is not monetary value. It's just, it could be sentimental, whatever, but it's units of love. This is you. This bowl is God, your universal God. This is the treasure of heaven. And you're a piece, you're a part of that. It can't be without you or without me. Someone goes away, strays away, this thing goes down, some things get lost. We want to focus on what was lost: the job, the relationship, the money, um, the angry boss, the mean brother. Some relationships we may have with our parents or siblings. We want to focus on some of that negativity when you've got all of this treasure here. And the more you focus on this, it's like the flame. It goes together. It won't be diminished. It will. Why? Because even though these pieces may be gone, the flame it's an eternal flame. It will be replenished from other places. And then your cup will overflow. So if we can put together the metaphor of the candles, how we're all connected. You can't be diminished by giving light into you just make the world a better place. You illuminate all these candles. We keep illuminating one another. We stay in the light, not in the pettiness of the body. And realize whatever happens, no matter what, when you focus on the treasure, it can't impact you negatively. For that moment, it's the problem in time. But when you know that all things are working for your good because you're staying in the light, that you just have to be patient. Okay. So I'm going to try again, trying to stay on top because I was about to jump ahead. So we've got the light, the oneness, we've got the treasure um, that can keep being fulfilled from other places, and not to focus on the one or two things that's gone. You are a diamond. You're a part of this treasure. Finally, well, not finally, next, correcting a mistake. What is the mistake? The mistake is believing that when you lose one piece that you're less than, or that you're poorer. Or the mistake is if you give something up, like forgiveness. If you forgive someone who's wronged you, or overlook their wrong, or someone steals something from you, or treats you unfairly. We have a lot of social injustice that we're fighting now. We have a president that's going out of the office that is definitely he has his favorites. We'll say that, and so, but it doesn't take anything from you to be forgiving of those people. Our country is so litigious. We want to sue everyone, anyone who has wronged us, or we just take offense, or if we don't give them a piece of our mind, then they're going to think that we're weak or we're whatever. What the world does is 180 degrees different than from what God would have for us in the light. It does not go on these principles of how the light cannot be diminished. That was hot. And of how the treasure is so vast that actually by me forgiving Trump in the light, it doesn't take anything away from me. And actually, I will be blessed more. I will have more treasure coming in because God's going to keep lighting up more places in my life and filling up my storehouse because I'm operating in the realm of love and goodness. That's where your grace, your blessings come from. I said in that last talk that, we can't say God's will be done or expect. God is not a magician. God has given universal laws for us to work with, and we want to absolve ourselves of all responsibility in it. No, you still have action. You can't put your wish in a bottle and throw it out to sea, or rub a lamp and hope a genie is going to do whatever you want them to do. It's not magic. It is magical. It's mystical, but you have to do your part. You have to work in the light. You have to use God's will, loving thoughts, hateful thoughts. He ain't gonna take advantage of me, and I can't stand him, and I hope that virus gets him, and all that. It's not gonna help your light shine bright. That's when your light starts to dim. I wish I had one of those snuff things that they have in the churches for the candles. It'll put your light, it'll dim your light. So put these principles together. So when you correct that error in your thinking, and it's a correction, it has the characteristics of the flame. So you are not diminished in any way by giving love to other people. That's what the world would have you think. I had someone, if you've been hanging with me now, I had the story last year of my landlord who basically put us out. Um, and I was really working through forgiveness. And then there was some damage to some of my property and everything. And I was telling a friend I have decided to just let it go. I'm going to let it go because I'm going to move forward. Because I know it's painful. I'm working through the pain. I'm using this as my lessons. All things are lessons God would have you learn. I'm using this as my lesson. And as I have, it's become easier and better. But I said, I'm going to let it go because by the time I try to sue, find a lawyer, do all this, the energy I have spent hating and strategizing and competing could have been better used in the light. I could have been more receptive and open, doing the work that God commands to be receptive to receive more treasure. But when I'm all diverted way over there and that's neutral or negative territory. It's not getting me anything. It's not in the light. It's not building my treasure. It's a waste. The world was, so my friend said, wow, you're going to let them get away with that? I mean, when that's like they're taking advantage of you. Says who? What does it mean to be taken advantage of? That's a feeling. That's a perception. That's a choice. If I say, I let you have that, as Jesus told Pontius, you can't take my life. I lay it down. It's a whole other sense of power. They think that, but we're so busy defending ourselves that it's like, oh, I can't let them take advantage of me. No, you're not taking advantage of me. I'm going to let you have that one. It was so freeing. It made all the difference. I'm glad I remembered to give you that example because you've been working with me on that one anyway. Um, yeah, so that third part is correcting the error of your thought. What the world says is 100 degrees, 80 degrees. Operating in love, giving your light to others, forgiving will increase your storehouse. That's another example, like treasure. Um, bring ye tithes to the storehouse. What's the storehouse? It contains everything. It Okay, so we got that. I don't want to go backwards. Okay. See, I was really just having, spirit was talking to me this morning, so I had to grab a piece of paper and go when I can. So today is the day. Today is the day to dream a new. You can take these principles, and if you apply them to your life and believe them right now, it's like, huh, I can't be diminished. No one can take advantage of me if I choose to just say, I'm gonna let that go because I know I'm operating with all these spiritual tools that I learned last year and this year in my whole life, actually. So everything exists as one in the giving and receiving. That's what the light, that's what the treasure is. So forgiveness does not diminish you. Give the flame of forgiveness. You haven't lost anything. You haven't lost the jewelry. You cannot be disrespected or taken advantage of. It is always restored if you see it this way. Then you let the blessings come in more elevated. Stop chasing old money. Money, I tell you, you are valuable. And if nothing can diminish you, even if your bank account gets low, if whatever, if you can continue to operate in the light just day by day. And I am in this practice. Okay. I am also in this practice of not worrying, of forgiving Trump, of doing these things, but it's becoming easier and easier. And it's like, oh, he can't bother me. I know what's going on here. And I know that blessings and abundance are here. They're already here. Um, so enjoy your treasure. This is this is the kingdom that you're seeking, right? This is um the new dream. This is where you got to play. You got to play by giving your light, by receiving your light, by knowing you can't be diminished and we're all one. All of us, me, you, him, her, in the light. Okay, in this concept of that we're all in the treasure. Okay, I mean, so when you realize that it can't be depleted, this magical, mystical, fabulous way of love that God works, you actually cannot be diminished in this new dream. The 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 dream is your thoughts. So you are a thought in the mind of God. You are a flame from God. You are a thought. A thought can never be separated from its source. Just like that flame, this flame still is a part of the source. It came from the source. You cannot be separated. So you always want to align your thoughts in this new dream, which is where your inner peace and happiness lies. When you're not aligned, you're unhappy. That's your check. If you're unhappy, it's because you're letting something that the world is saying get to you and you're not aligning your thoughts by how this could be working for your good to that of God's. It's a belief system. It's an understanding of how the laws work. We want just God to do everything without understanding how the laws work. And what we have been learning is how the laws work. And now we get to apply them to our life. I'm so excited. Um, okay. So the next part, which I pretty much just said, I keep jumping ahead. So I'm glad I got my notes so I'm not forgetting anything, is that we talked about bending time. Time is not linear. So when we do this, we immediately, like this morning, I mean, I found so much peace and joy. I am relaxing right into this new year, knowing that like, oh, I mean, I was made some hard decisions last week and Monday, and I have to close one of my businesses, and I was feeling like, a failure. And then I'm like, well, I know I'm not a failure, so let me work through that. God, what is that about? It keeps coming and going. Every time I think I got it, it comes back to me. And it was like, no, it was something that I had to go through. It's okay. I am not, the all of me is not diminished because one thing that I tried didn't work. It just didn't work. That's just one little thing. That's something that came out of that's my Yerman that came out of my thing. And I'm worried. I'm all fretting over that when I got all this other treasure that I could be focusing on. And when I do that and stay in the light, and that's why I was so in a hurry to try to just put it on paper so I don't forget it and try to give you these same messages. I was like, oh, let me go ahead and do what I need to do. Let me go ahead and write my investors and figure out how to dissolve a business and chalk it up, just like the landlord. I am not diminished by it. I was choosing to feel diminished because I had these standards of just disappointing myself or disappointing, oh, people who maybe I thought maybe I was a role model or just what other people would think of me or, how am I going to make money, or all these other things. I was feeling diminished. But with this understanding, which I had been getting along the way, so today is the day, is what I'm saying. When you can really sit with these things and with spirit and have these and go through your meditations and have these epiphanies, be sure to capture them. That's the point of journaling. And be sure to light someone else's light with that knowledge. That's the beauty. So you can bend time, but I want to say you're not diminished, but you can also add to, because when you're forgiving, it adds to your treasure. So it's mixing the metaphors, but it- let's go back to time. Everything isn't linear. God's possibilities are infinite. So we want everything like explain AB 1, 2, 3, and that's why science is popular, and science has its place. But in this realm, in this spiritual, it's quantum. It's quantum physics. I mean, it's matrices. It's the matrix. It's all this. You can't understand everything. You can understand how the major laws work in a way that you can utilize them in your life and have faith and trust and watch it happen. So, time, we talked about bending time. You do this today. You've just conquered 2021 on day one. Do you see that? You don't have to wait to be blessed. You are blessed because now you realize that you're the light. You don't have to feel diminished by what you perceived as a failure, um, or the money's not there. That doesn't diminish you. Yeah, there's things that we have to do, practically speaking. I go find a job. I gotta go do some things. I gotta reorganize. Okay, but it doesn't make me less of anything. I mean, okay, it's a nuisance that now it's just a nuisance. It's stuff like I gotta do, like I gotta go grocery shopping, or I gotta go to the dry cleaners back when we used to leave the house and put our clothes in the dry cleaners. It's errands. It's a to-do list, but it's not a blemish on me. So anything that's a blemish that you're feeling is a blemish, or someone that doesn't like you, or da, 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 that's not on you. It's not your character. You're good. It's only on you if you let it be on you. So today we're letting that go. We've got a whole treasure. If so what? If you lost that relationship, if you lost that bracelet, that earring, that whatever, the gift that your kids gave you, it's sad. But you know what? You got the whole other, you got everything else. So it's still good. Let that go. Work on keeping your flame lit and renewed, and enlighten other flames, and it will be restored in different ways. It'll be a different bracelet. It'll be a different friend. It'll be a different job. Okay. And now I think this is the last section. So it's just this continue. So this time has collapsed. You don't need 12 months or 365 days. That in this instant, you've already conquered 2021. You've already conquered the whole year of what you wanted, which is inner peace, um, um, that feeling of more self value, worth, courage, that is now it's fueled and fired by the universal laws of God. And so you don't have to wish for it. It is. And that's what it means. And so it is. So it is. So instead of saying amen, you say amen. That's it. People don't even realize, amen. It is. So it is. It is right now. So we've collapsed time on how we used to think, oh, it's going to take a year. And oh, yeah, I'll be happy when I lose that 15 pounds, and I'll be happy. Oh yeah, this year I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to, I'll be happy when. No, I'm happy now because now I know how things work. And all I have to do, all that has to happen now Is time has collapsed. I the event now, the experience has to manifest. But what I really wanted, what we all want, we only want anything for the belief, the sake that we think it's going to will be better for it. That's the only reason you want anything. You want a house because you think it's going to make you feel better, or a car with these features, or a relationship because you want to feel loved or intimate or whatever because you think it's going to make. The only reason we want anything is because we think we'll be better for having it. When you already know you're better right now in your own skin because you have now an understanding and the ability to activate these principles in your life, it takes away the worry. You're able to just you've actually, it is actually the definition of a miracle. One of my favorite, I'm a student of A Course in Miracles, which is one of my treasures here in my bottom book. A Course in Miracles, the definition of a miracle is a change in perception. Is that it's like the laws that you thought existed, everything changes in an instant, things happen. Like, so when you realize this, like for me this morning, it's a miracle, an epiphany, an aha, that now it's like, oh, I've been released. I've been forgiven. I forgave myself. And then I can pass this on to other people, like Trump, like whoever else, like the landlord, like this or that, which I had already always been working on, but and I was chipping. I was maybe like 80, 70, 75, 80%, 90%, but never could get all the way. Today, I just feel like free. Um, so that is the bending of time. I know that concept for some of us was like, huh, what is she talking about, bending time? We want to think time is linear. Time bends and yields, you know, a billion years is a blink of an eye for God, so things can happen instantly, instantly, instantly. Time, the only problem, time is just a measurement, and we define it, we'll attach an emotion to it. So we're eagerly waiting, or we're impatient. It's an expectation with patience is how to go through. When you extract negative feelings from time, when it's time, I'm always only where I am. So the only time that matters is now. So when we're aware, when we're using this higher consciousness, when right now, if all that matters and I'm using these principles, then I'm happy. But if I'm extending my concept of time to something in the future, later this year, I'll be happy when I lose 15 pounds. I'll never be happy. I'm always in search of. Uh-uh. We're not going to dream a new dream. Today, the dream is be the dream. And if you can't do that, continue to pursue it until you can, until you wake up one day. But you got to use the higher principles. You got to stop believing what a man told you. You got to connect with the spirit, with the God within you. Connect with that, and that is where all of your answers in, because it is connected to source. So hold these thoughts captive in your mind. Then you are aligned with God's will. Peace falls upon you like a warm blanket and endureth forever as long as you hold them in your awareness in each moment. Peace be still. That's it. I have something else that I wanted to say, and I'm just going to sit here for a while and let's gel on that and see if it's worth saying. I really want to encourage you to continue this study, this line of thought, um, that we have our one-on-ones, that you start to pick up more books of enlightenment, uh, so you can make your own decisions. No one can change your mind or change your beliefs. Your mindset, though, and your matters. It's everything. Your thoughts are a part of the mind of God. So I will say this last thing because it's just wanting to come out. You are not your body. You are not this glass container. You are the flame, the light, the source that comes from God, not the container. This is our man-made. This is you are in this light is the treasure. Okay? You are not. What would you be? Here's an essential question to leave you with. What would you be if you weren't your body? The only reason to attack or have be offended or take be on defense against someone is you're thinking of their body. Because if you were thinking of their soul, their spirit, their light, you wouldn't attack them because you'd be in a loving place. So the more you put yourself in your own body condition, oh, I hate my body, self-loathing, body shame. If you're doing that, stop it right now. Apply all these principles, because how can you forgive anyone else when you're not forgiving yourself? And how can you forgive yourself when you're not forgiving anyone else? Because what is in the one is in the whole, and what is in the whole is in the one. That's, you see how that works? That is where I'm going to leave it. What would you be if you were not your body? If you were blind, if you were crippled, if you were crippled in the, I know it's not a, you don't, I'm not calling a person a cripple, that the nature, the characteristic of being unable, disabled. What if you were Helen Keller, couldn't see, couldn't hear, couldn't talk? She was still amazing. You, she was still there. She was still able to learn and overcome and learn Braille. Someone was able to teach her Braille without her ability to use other senses. Everything is possible. You are not your body. You are someone. Stephen Hawking, the most amazing physicist. He can't do anything. He I don't even remember how he communicates now, but I did watch a documentary on him, and he's still doing stuff. He's working with Bezos, putting rockets on the moon, or not on the moon, in space, on other planets, trying to set up a whole new world. You are not your body. So don't be offended by what other people want to do. You stay in the light, and that is where the new dream is. That's where you attain inner peace. And it can happen instantly. It is a miracles happen all the time. When miracles don't happen, there's a problem. It means you're not growing. It means you're not singing the synchronicities, talking the language of God in the world. Because when you do, you see the miraculous in everything. You get these aha, you wake up renewed every day, like, oh my God, oh, that was so great. And did you know, see how that happened? And won't he do it? And all of that. It's just like in your conversation all the time. And yeah, then problems will come, and they're training to help you get back to remember, okay, this is how I get over problems. Because they're going to come. There's no, that is the point. Life ebbs and flows. That's another universal law. You can define them as good or bad, but it's really an ebb and flow. It's how you learn. It's like, gravity, moon, waves in the ocean. The ocean is not going to be still and flat all the time. The ocean is not the Dead Sea. It is the way of the world. Stop crying and lamenting when problems happen. Well, you won't be crying so much when you remember how it works, because you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not diminished by this. I'm going to pick up my sad face and then I'm going to turn it around. Like I said last week, I was getting a little down. I think looking, like forward to this year and all the stuff I had to do, and every time it was just make me a little weepy. And then now I could just have this conversation like, oh, yeah, I'm still good. I mean, I had two people last week call me a boss. I was like, oh, thank you. So that was only stuff I was putting on myself, and that was as an encouragement for me. Someone else added to my flame, fed into me last week. And then certainly God in spirit has fed into me this morning and in this second and all the time. And I hope this feeds into your spirit. Happy New You. Leave me some comments, questions, schedule some time with me, bring and share this with other people, bring them to Patreon so we can continue in this community. And it doesn't have to be in this community, but to Remarkable Wellness so that we can continue to spread our light. Uh-oh. That we're not diminished, never diminished. We can light all these candles. I can even, with a match that went out, light another candle. So I'm so glad to be able to share my light with you, and you share your light with me. Happy New You. Happy New Year. God bless. Namaste. Love and lights.